You've probably seen it before. A dog, fast asleep, legs kicking, tail twitching, a strange muffled bark escaping mid-dream. We laugh. We say, look, he's chasing rabbits. But what if it's not a rabbit he's chasing? What if somewhere behind those twitching eyelids, something is chasing him? Because the question we're about to ask isn't cute. Do animals have nightmares?
Chapter 1. What even is a nightmare from the animal's standpoint? Before we go any further, we need to define what we're actually asking. A nightmare in humans isn't just a dream. It's a very specific thing. It requires REM sleep, the stage where the brain is highly active and most vivid dreaming occurs. Narrative imagery, the brain constructing a sequence of events, not just flashes of sensation. Emotional intensity, specifically fear, dread, or distress. And critically, the experience of being a self inside that story, someone the bad thing is happening to.
That's a lot of machinery. So the real question isn't just do animals dream? Most scientists already agree they probably do. The real question is sharper and stranger. Is there a frightened someone inside that dream? Let's find out what the evidence actually says, species by species. Chapter 2. The Sleeping Brain. What we actually know. Let's start with the hard science, because this part isn't speculation, it's measurable. Mammals and birds experience REM sleep, the same sleep stage where humans do almost all of our vivid narrative dreaming. Researchers have recorded REM cycles, complete with rapid eye movement and muscle twitching, in dogs, cats, rats, and even some birds. In a landmark 2001 study at MIT, neuroscientists Matthew Wilson and Kenway Louie recorded the brain activity of rats while they ran a maze for food, then recorded their brains again while they slept. The result was remarkable. The same neural firing patterns that occurred while the rats navigated the maze replayed during their sleep in the same sequence, at a similar pace. The rats weren't just dreaming in some vague, abstract sense. They were rerunning the maze in their minds while asleep. That's not just dreaming. That's memory replay, the brain reconstructing a specific structured experience. And here's the unsettling part. If the brain can replay a good memory, like finding food, there's no biological reason it couldn't replay a bad one. Chapter 3. The dog in your living room. So let's bring this back to the dog twitching on your couch. Veterinary neurologists, including researchers like Stanley Coren, have studied dog sleep extensively. Dogs enter REM sleep roughly 10 to 20 minutes after falling asleep, and during this stage, you'll often see the paw paddling, the muffled vocalizations, the twitching muzzle. Smaller dogs dream more frequently than larger dogs, likely tied to faster metabolism and shorter sleep cycles. But the dream content itself is believed to mirror their daily experience. A dog that spent the day chasing squirrels likely dreams about chasing squirrels. But here's where it gets darker. Veterinarians who work with rescue dogs, particularly those who have survived abuse, abandonment, or trauma, frequently report something different. These dogs often show far more intense and frequent nighttime distress, growling, yelping, thrashing, panic. It's not scientifically confirmed that this is a nightmare in the full human sense, but the pattern is hard to ignore. Dogs replay what happens to them while they're awake. If what happens to them while awake is frightening, logic and a great deal of anecdotal veterinary evidence suggests the replay might be frightening too. Chapter 4. The Octopus that changed the conversation. Now, here's where the story gets genuinely strange, because the most compelling piece of evidence didn't come from a mammal at all. It came from an octopus. In 2021, a video of an octopus named Heidi went viral. While sleeping, Heidi's skin began rapidly changing color, flashing from pale white to a deep mottled brown, then to a camouflage pattern, then briefly to a stark, startled white again. Her body tensed, her arms curled defensively. Researcher David Scheel, who studies octopus cognition, suggested that Heidi may have been dreaming about a hunting encounter, possibly even a predator attack, and that her skin, which is directly controlled by her nervous system, was reenacting the scene in real time. Octopuses don't have anything resembling a human brain. Their nervous systems are radically different, partially decentralized, with neurons distributed through their arms. If a nightmare can emerge in a brain that different from ours, maybe the capacity for fear during sleep isn't a rare, fragile thing. Maybe it's something evolution keeps landing on again and again in wildly different animals. Chapter 5. Why the brain might need nightmares at all. Here's a question that flips this entire topic on its head.
why would nightmares even be useful? Because in humans, researchers increasingly believe nightmares aren't a glitch. They might be a feature. One leading theory, called the threat simulation theory, proposed by researcher Revensuo, suggests that nightmares exist to let the brain rehearse dangerous scenarios in a low-stakes environment, practicing fear and escape while safely asleep, so the response is sharper if a real threat ever shows up. If that theory is correct, and there's a reasonable amount of evidence supporting it, then nightmares aren't unique to humans by accident. A zebra that has nearly been caught by a lion has every evolutionary reason to practice that scenario while sleeping. A mouse that narrowly escaped a hawk has every reason to replay it. In other words, if nightmares serve a survival function, we should expect to find them across the animal kingdom, not surprised when we do.
Chapter 6. What the science still can't tell us. Now, let's be honest about the limits here, because this is where good science requires restraint. We can measure brainwaves. We can observe twitching, vocalizing, color-changing skin. We can record neural replay. What we cannot do, not yet, maybe not ever, is climb inside an animal's sleeping mind and confirm there is a frightened someone experiencing a story. This is what philosophers call the problem of other minds. We can't even fully prove this about other humans. We infer it because they're built like us and they tell us about it. With animals, we lose that second piece. They can't tell us. So researchers are left building a case from indirect evidence: neural replay, behavioral distress, evolutionary logic, and structural similarity to our own dreaming brains. It's a strong case. It's not a closed one. So, do animals have nightmares? The honest answer is, we can't prove it with certainty. Not the way we'd want to. But the evidence we do have, replaying memories during sleep, REM cycles nearly identical to ours, trauma survivors showing more nighttime distress, even an octopus's skin reenacting what looks like fear, makes the alternative feel less and less likely. What makes this question worth asking isn't just curiosity. It's that somewhere, right now, an animal might be afraid, alone, asleep, and unable to tell anyone. And the least we can do is take that possibility seriously. If this video made you see your pet a little differently, like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, has your dog or cat ever woken up from what looked like a bad dream? I want to hear about it.